Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's Juan Solo here with A Squad Gaming, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you all so much for tuning in today for, you guessed it, some more Ghost Recon. So in today's video, I thought we would talk about a touchy subject for the next Ghost Recon game, and that is having a new squad be the main focal point of the next title. So as you guys saw from the thumbnail, we are hypothetically going to be saying farewell to Nomad, and I will have some topics and other things kind of back this up. But that is going to be mainly what we're going to be discussing here in today's video. I wanted to go in depth with what the developers possibly could do when it comes to the squad of the next Ghost Recon game. But with that being said, real quick before we jump into it, if you guys go on to enjoy the video, a like rating would be super appreciated. Also, for those of you that may be new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on those post notifications so you do not miss any of my future uploads. Also, please let me know all of your thoughts on this down below in the comments. Do you want to see a new Ghost Squad, or would you like to see Nomad return in some way, shape, or form in the next game? So jumping right into things, this will all depend on the timeline that Ubisoft chooses to have in the next iteration of the Ghost Recon franchise, because depending on the timeline of that game, certain Ghost teams might make more sense. For instance, if the game is set after the events of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Nomad should be retired if they stick to the story of that game. He was actually supposed to retire before the events of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, but he did get roped back in for Operation Greenstone, which we obviously know how all of that ended, or should I say, no, we don't know how that ended, because we went from him being trapped on Aroa, and we were fast forwarded to the Operation Motherland DLC, where he returns to the island of Aroa, but we never did get any information or clarification on how he actually got off the island in the first place. But that's definitely a topic for a completely separate video. But like I said, if they decide to have a Ghost Recon game set after the events of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Nomad would have retired, so we would have to go a different direction with the actual squad. But real quick, before we jump too far into the video, I did want to put this here because I've seen a number of people talking about this for a future Ghost Recon game, and that's exploring the story with Nomad and Walker in the Middle East that we saw several cutscenes of throughout the beginning of Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I'll be honest, I do not want to see this for two reasons. The first reason would be that this would give us another full game with Nomad as Ghost lead, which I'm pretty much all Nomaded out at this point. And the second reason would be that we already know how Walker's story ends, and I feel like the story really wouldn't hold a lot of weight knowing what we know would happen after the events of that game. But either way, the developers could do a number of different things by using an existing squad or creating a brand new squad that we've never heard of. Also creating new lore to go along with it, which I would not be opposed to, but they can also dip into the rich history and lore of the Ghost Recon franchise and bring back a popular Ghost team like Hunter Team that would fit right into the timeline of the events after Ghost Recon Breakpoint. But for those of you that have not read the Ghost Recon books, or maybe you haven't played Ghost Recon Future Soldier, after the events of that game, Ghost lead Cedric Ferguson, who was the lead on Hunter Team, actually goes on a leave of absence, and Hunter Team has taken over by Andrew Ross. They still maintain the same characters with 30K, Pepper, and Kozak. It just has Andrew Ross as Ghost lead instead of Cedric Ferguson, which, to be honest, I would love to see the return of those characters because they were fantastic in Ghost Recon Future Soldier. But I would understand if Ghost Recon and Ubisoft wanted to go in a different direction with a new squad, but I can't help to think that it would make everyone happy across the board if they didn't just ignore the lore that made the Ghost Recon franchise what it is. So now, with all of that being said, if we go the other way with the timeline and have something set between the events of Ghost Recon Wildlands and Ghost Recon Breakpoint, they could definitely bring back Kingslayer Team, which would be Nomad, Holt, Midas, and Weaver. And with how they did Weaver at the start of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, man, did they do him dirty. I think it would be really cool if they could get the original voice actors back and have that entire squad go on a brand new adventure set in the timeline between those two games. I know there are a number of people that want to see the Ghost Recon franchise head to a Middle Eastern location, which, to be honest, I've talked about this a number of times on the channel. I would not be opposed to it. I would just be a little bit worried about the biome diversity in a map set in that kind of area, and I would be afraid that we would be back in the same boat that we were with the island of Aroa, just not having the proper biome diversity. But I won't go into that because I did cover that in my video the other day talking about the dynamic world of the next Ghost Recon. But if we say the next Ghost Recon is set between the events of Ghost Recon Wildlands and Ghost Recon Breakpoint, there are a number of things that they could do with the Kingslayer team, including even having a brand brand new storyline that was not mentioned in any of the existing lore. I just feel like if we got 3 games in a row with Nomad as Ghost lead, I personally would be a little bit burnt out on the character. The only thing that could really rope me into that idea is if they brought back the voice actor from Ghost Recon Wildlands, because let's be honest, who doesn't like the classic shitballs voice line that we all came to know and love in Ghost Recon Wildlands? So having Kingslayer team would also work if they did some sort of a prequel to Ghost Recon Wildlands, but I'm not exactly sure if Ubisoft would be willing to go back to prior events of that game, because if anything, I think they will be shooting for some sort of a sequel to Ghost Recon Wildlands, possibly Ghost Recon Wildlands 2, but that's just my personal opinion. Now, if the next game does take place between the events of those 2 games, it doesn't necessarily have to be surrounding Kingslayer team either. They could even possibly bring back Predator Team, which was the successor Ghost Squad to the events of Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter and Advanced Warfighter 2, led by Scott Mitchell. So before I dive into that real quick, I will mention a spoiler alert for those of you guys that have not played Ghost Recon Future Soldier and you intend to do so. If you don't want anything spoiled with that game, at least click ahead like 30 seconds in this video so you don't have any spoilers. A Predator team was the Ghost Squad that was taken out at the start of Ghost Recon Future Soldier, which was led by the one and only Joe Ramirez, which was Scott Mitchell's right-hand man throughout Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter and Advanced Warfighter 2. And to be honest, I was pretty upset the way they killed off Predator team at the start of Ghost Recon Future Soldier after being tied with those characters throughout the previous 2 games. It was definitely pretty frustrating as a fan of the franchise, but that game took place in 2024, so they could always bring back Joe Ramirez, Haynes, McGann, and Allen, which made up Predator Team. But that game took place in the year 2024, so they could always bring back Joe Ramirez, Haynes, McGann, and Allen, which were the 4 ghosts in Predator Team, and have some sort of a lead up to the events of Ghost Recon Future Soldier. Even if the final mission in the game was them infilling into Nicaragua, which would lead right up to the first mission of Ghost Recon Future Soldier, I think that would honestly be really cool. But with that being said, to cap off the video, I wanted to round all of this up with my personal opinion, being that I would like to see them go in a new direction with the Ghost Recon game, away from Nomad. Even though he is a great character, I think 2 full Ghost Recon games with him as the main Ghost lead is plenty enough Nomad for me, and with some of the iconic characters of Predator Team as well as Hunter Team that they could definitely go back to in the lore of the Ghost Recon franchise, have some iconic characters return, or even create a brand new Ghost Squad, especially if they have the comms like they did with Kingslayer Team and Ghost Recon Wildlands. The constant banter back and forth, the jokes, the comms, everything about that Ghost Squad was really well done when it comes to the voice actors and the dialogue. So as long as they do something along those lines with the Ghost team in the next game, I think it will be great. No matter who the squad is, as long as it is done correctly, no matter what the squad is, I think it will be fantastic. But with that being said, that is where I'm going to wrap up today's video. Like I said, let me know all of your thoughts on this down below in the comments. Do you want to see Nomad return for another game, or would you rather have the return of an OG squad like Hunter Team or Predator Team? Or would you possibly like to see a brand new squad to take point in the next Ghost Recon game? And to be honest, as long as the core gameplay loop is really good, I could care less who the ghosts are, as long as the characters felt believable, they meshed well together, they had good comms, great dialogue, that would be perfect. But like I said, that is all for the video. If you guys enjoyed it, you are excited about the possibility of a brand new squad being in the next Ghost Recon game, make sure to drop a like on the video and also subscribe if you are new, to stay up to date on all content surrounding the Ghost Recon franchise here on the channel moving forward. But that is all for now. Thank you all so much for tuning in today, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.